Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're thrilled to have Edwin Endlich, who is nothing else but or nothing less than the CMO of Wysh, WYSH, a company truly revolutionizing the life insurance space. And he has a very interesting story to share. I was very, very thrilled when Edwin and I talked the first time. So, Edwin, your journey from Comedy Central to leading marketing for an insurtech innovator is quite fascinating. So, welcome to you on our podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. So, for those unfamiliar about Wish, could you briefly introduce what the company is about, the core vision, and yeah, what's really animating you behind making life insurance fun and talkable?
Yeah, no easy challenge to make life insurance interesting and fun, which was kind of what got us excited about this. Around 5 years ago, a group of us who had been working in finance and technology and marketing came together because we really felt that life insurance needed to be disrupted. We were all starting to get older in our lives. We were starting to have parents who were getting sick. We were all married, having children. And it was the first time that life insurance became kind of relevant to us
Mhm.
as a group. And we had all had such awful experiences trying to get life insurance that we said there's something wrong that we could fix here. And so we just spent the next 2 years building Wysh, which is a life insurance company that really takes a different approach. We ask you, what do you wish would happen if something happens to you? And people can wish for their mortgage to be paid off, their kids to go to college, their pets to go to a farm. We've had people wish that their ashes get thrown into a volcano. And we have a team in North Carolina here in the US, and
Yeah.
their job is to make those wishes come true. And
Uh-huh.
so the real foundation of our company was to make life insurance something worth talking about, worth
Mhm.
sharing, something that you're actually proud of. And since then, it's been a journey and a half, and continuing to evolve the company ever since.
So tell me, thank you for this. It's really a very interesting company. I love the name and I love the story and I love what you deliver for us. And I'm probably gonna give you a call after the podcast, to look into this, to work with you as a customer. So, how do you think your creative background informs the concept? And what's the biggest hurdle in getting people to embrace a new emotional approach to protection, which normally would be much more logical thing that people would have about it, logical approach. So, how do you go about this hurdle? And do you feel or do you think that your creative background has in any way informed you and helped you?
I started as a comedy writer here in New York with aspirations of writing for television shows and movies early in my career. And I realized I loved the storytelling aspect, but really did not shine in how competitive it was as a field and how lonely you were. I love to collaborate. I love to work with a team. I love to encourage others. And I found, being a creative in television was very solitary and very much it's about you and what you can accomplish. And so, I've really found that like marketing was where you could be as creative as I wanted to be, but in a collaborative environment with people who
Mm,
wanted you to succeed.
mm,
And so that's really kind of where the trajectory started, was in that shift to be able to tell great stories, to be funny and bring like a levity to serious things I always love to do, and do it in a way that had a steady paycheck and also had a group of people surrounding me who were, passionate about doing the same thing.
mm,
So, and I think that really kind of stayed true for me all the way up into becoming CMO of Wysh, where it became so important to tell a really great story, because the story people had about life insurance was that this is something old and stodgy that your parents had, your grandparents had a policy, but in today's world, it's not for anyone under 50. And we wanted to change that, and we needed a good story to be able to do that. And so my sort of background, having fun with serious topics, really came in handy.
So yeah, and he did because, you really embody something new, different, that really serves people. It's not comedy, but it's helping life unfold, right? So tell us a bit about the business model, the innovation in business model, the uh, the way you went about it, and the growth of the audience as well.
Yeah, so Wysh, like I said, we started as that direct to consumer insurance company, and one interesting thing we found was that people were purchasing really small policies. If you were younger, if you were in your 20s and 30s, people were really just getting $20,000 to cover their student loans. So if anything happens to them, their parents didn't get stuck with their loans. And then we also saw people getting, $15,000 policies just to cover their credit card debt, to make sure that that didn't go to a spouse. And what we found as people were getting these smaller policies, that they were really affordable. They were, $4 or $5 a month for these smaller policies. And that really led us to want to find opportunities to where we could actually give people those smaller policies for free without having to charge them anything. And so in order to do that, we went to some financial institutions and asked them, would you want to offer your customers these small life insurance policies as a benefit just for being a customer, and you taking on that $4 or $5 as a financial institution as a way to incentivize your customers. And they were already doing that for
Yeah.
things like a free month of Netflix was
Yeah.
costing a bank $13. Now for this, we're asking for four. And we think that's more valuable than a month of Netflix would be a month of life insurance. And so they agreed. And that's really where we've been focused as a business for the past 2 years, has
Mm.
been really building these partnerships with institutions in order to give all their customers free life insurance without having them to apply, without having them need to go through underwriting. It's
Yeah.
just automatic.
Yeah. Plus, you acquire a Netflix viewer and that remains $14. You acquire a term insurance, lifetime insurance, and then these people will spend more and more and more every year because the policy will go up, and then they will buy other products for you. So it's a much better value, life value of a customer, and the acquisition cost is therefore very minimal when average it over decades. So despite your success, despite this ingenious, way of looking at the business, you're still facing an uphill battle. It seems like convincing traditional financial institutions about the value of protection, as you said, often against the free Netflix. So how are you approaching this challenge of changing deeply ingrained mindsets, and what role does innovative messaging or data play in winning over skeptics?
Yes, in the financial space, data is the only thing that will convince, executives and decision makers to take a risk. They won't do it just because they laughed in the meeting. They won't do it because they think you're charming, which, man, that I miss those days where that's all you had to do in a meeting is just, you know, be charming. Nowadays, they really want to see the data. They want to see the forecast. They want to see, real testimonials from their customers, as close to their customers as possible, to say, this is what I'm looking for. This is what will help me stay with a financial institution.
Mhm.
And that's really what we had to spend a year working on,
Mhm.
is not only utilizing existing data on how important protection was to those who are under 50, but
Mhm.
having our own focus groups and surveys, and spending just literally a year building data that helps support us and be our ammo in the room when we're speaking to these executives on 6 out of 10 people do not have life insurance.
Mm,
4 out of 10 people were looking for life insurance today.
mhm.
Things like that were really important for us to be able to bring to them. And of course, once we had those first few clients who were partners, it was really important to
Sure.
us to monitor their success, be with them along that journey, because it was important for us to for them to be
Demonstrate.
successful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To demonstrate to the community, to the industry. I get that. So yeah, so obviously highlights, around advanced messaging, highlights around market intelligence, highlights around strategic influence. All those are keywords, right, for your success in on this tight path. I can see that. So you also mentioned lofty goal, of being present at every life stage touch point where protection is needed. So how do you envision leveraging technology and data, excuse me, and data to identify and engage with individuals at these critical moments, and what are the biggest challenges in executing such a broad, personalized strategy?
Yeah, it's so amazing to be kind of working in strategy and marketing in 2026 with the advance of technology and the tools that we have that we've never had before in order to offer personalized communication to life stages at the individual level. And that's really exciting to us, and being able to do that because, like you said, the decision to purchase a life insurance policy
Mhm.
is incredibly based on the moment in your life that you're at. We see that 90% of the time when people purchase a life insurance policy, it's in three places. It's when they graduate college, when they get their first big job, and when they have their first child, are really where so many policies are taken out for the first time.
Mhm.
And so, how can we be there? Oh, and of course, when they purchase a home, so that would be the fourth.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Usually utilizing data, purchase behavior, look-alike data, meaning the odds of someone looking at this type of content means that they are interested in this. So whether it's people drawn to new parenting content on TikTok, to home improvement for beginners, those are moments that are starting to trigger businesses like us to say, I bet they are at the life stage that they would be considering something like a life insurance policy. And how can we be connected to those moments in time? Social, it becomes a little bit easier because you can kind of, target a specific type of content and be sure that you show up before or after that role of content goes. We try to be part of newsletters for those specific, life moments, which of course we've seen a lot with uh, people uh, who get engaged sign up for at least 3 newsletters within 3 days of their engagement. So we really noted, for someone in that life stage, there are triggers that happen that we've kind of learned and utilized. So it's all about trying to find the behaviors someone takes at the life moment we're in.
All right. So I'm hearing, yes, predictive analytics, focus on data-driven targeting, right? And scalable outreach, obviously, every time you can. You also spoke candidly about the managerial and cultural challenges of navigating in a hybrid startup environment in 2026. So, especially regarding talent and loyalty, those are important factors of success. So, how are you approaching these human-centric challenges to ensure Wish continues to thrive with its brilliant people, as you said in our first conversation?
Yeah, we are, so fortunate to be a team of such strong thinkers and advocates, and we are all really committed to making Wysh successful and impactful. And we started this company 4 weeks before New York City shut down during the pandemic. So we were still, we didn't even have our business cards yet, and the world had changed under our feet. And so that really did bring a certain amount of challenges to us as leaders, to us as executives, to us as mentors, because we were all so used to how things used to be. We were so used to being connected in an office, to talking around a water cooler, to going out to happy hours, which we didn't do for almost 2.5 years. We existed as a company before we were able to host our first happy hour. That was crazy to me for someone who grew up, in the digital marketing world between 2004 and 2020. It was defined by the time you spent together
Yeah.
in meetings till 2 in the morning because you have a client meeting at 6, traveling together on an airplane to go meet a client. That's how you grew your relationships with each other. That's how I learned who like my boss was and how they learned about me. Now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you only had at most a video conference call in order to build those relationships. And that I believe was like a really big challenge. And I think even continues to still be a challenge for us 5 years after
Mm-hmm.
this, of being able to form deep relationships with your team members, especially younger team members, that were as deep as I remembered them when I was starting. How can I give them that mentorship? How can I make those connections with them where they can trust me and I can trust them in almost a virtual world now?
Yeah.
It's not been easy, but there are a few things that we really try to do each day. So whether it's maintaining touch points every day to connect with each other, even if it's just for 5 minutes, jump on a call, ask each other how you're doing, try to stay casual. At least one moment a day
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
important to us. And then we really do still try to meet in person, every month
Mhm.
for our town hall as a company. And again, just trying to make those as relaxed and casual as we can are still really important parts of our identity as a company.
Good. Yeah, I can relate to those challenges. It's not easy, and you're all in America and you're all on Eastern time at least, so it
Yes.
seems, yeah. So now let's talk about your nonprofit. So as president of NAFL or NAFL.org, how do you call it?
Definitely. Yep.
NAFLI? NAFLI, okay. You're also championing financial literacy and addressing the loss of employees' protections. So how does this nonprofit initiative tie into Wysh's broader mission, and what impact do you hope to achieve through this advocacy? Tell us more about this.
When we were researching for Wysh and looking to get that data that could really support our story of why protection was so important, we were
Mhm.
shocked at what the data was telling us. We were shocked to see how many people, even just in the past 5 years, have lost a life insurance policy that was offered through their job. People who, used to have these, protections is now becoming less and less common. And we really felt that there needed to be some sort of advocacy on their behalf to bring that attention to the financial industry, and especially just, to corporate America in the US, that there was this lack of protection that was happening. We see it and we talk about it most with health insurance because that's probably the most impactful form of protection we have in the United States, and definitely is the most financially impactful. If you don't have that protection, you could have hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills can just come overnight without that safety net. But when it comes to life insurance, we heard so many stories of, young people who weren't able to stay in college because their parents passed away and didn't have a
Mhm.
insurance policy, and their parents were helping them in that early part of their life. We heard people who, had to sell their home that they loved because they couldn't afford the mortgage after someone passed away. America is very unique with our, how little protection we have. The average family couldn't support a $400 bill if it came out of nowhere. And that's $400. The average funeral is 4,000. So even just to have a funeral for a loved one,
Hmm.
most of Americans would have to go into debt in order to do that. Uh,
Wow.
and we felt that's not right, and there should be more
Mhm.
awareness of that. There should be more conversation around why aren't we offering these sort of protections, especially when they're affordable. In order to
Mhm.
do that, could be $4 a month. We're thinking that that really needs to be a conversation we should be having,
Mhm.
and that's really why we created NAFLI, which is the National Alliance for Financial Literacy and Inclusion. And it's where we come together at events and conferences and really bring great minds together in the industry to talk about how we could provide stronger protections to Americans and hopefully soon around the world.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. No, I really love your thought leadership and advocacy and bring broad impact, broader than your business, with this nonprofit organization, Definitely. Wonderful. Thank you for this and the community. Edwin, to close, what would be the one big thing that you want our audience to take away about the future of insurtech and how Wish is actually shaping it?
One of the things that we really learned early on was that people love insurance, they just hate to buy it. Which is kind of rare. And it's one of those bills that you pay that you never see the benefit of, especially a life insurance policy
Yeah,
when
I hope so.
this
Yes.
is for your family. This is not for you. So that is really where the mission to work with financial institutions to make things like a life insurance policy be part of the financial world you're already in. So whether it's protection that comes with your credit card, it comes with your mortgage, it comes with your student loans. These are the things people really want, and they want to see those things included. They really don't like having to pay $12 a month for a life insurance policy. It's usually one of those first thing that goes once you hit a moment of hardship. You definitely think that's something I could live without. And we think that puts families at risk for no reason, especially when many are interested in these micro policies.
Yeah.
Those are things that can be embedded into your financial life by other institutions. And we're just so passionate about forming those relationships this year and really are hoping to talk to as many financial institutions about this as possible. That's our goal in 2026.
Wonderful. That's a great goal. People can benefit from this. So I really appreciate. So how can people really find you? Give the name of your website or phone number or anything that they could look you up and reach you.
Yeah, so if you're interested in financial protection for yourself or for your customers, we are at wish.com, so WYSH.com. And if you want to be part of our mission to educate the world about some of these issues in the protection space, we are at nafli.org. That's NAFLI.org.
LI. Okay, good. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it, Edwin. Have a great rest of your day. Your insights and your journey and what you do with your teams is just remarkable. So thank you very much. Yeah, I really
Thank
enjoyed it.
you. This was great. Thank you.
Okay, until next year, when you've achieved your goal in 2026. Okay, it'd be my pleasure to have you again here. All right. Bye. Thank you.